It was 2024 on a late night radio broadcast that I first heard someone talking about putting other people in camps. And most people ignored that. And even though it was a person who was a recognizable spokesperson from a national news network, we've seen a lot of things since 2024 and over the last few decades as a country. But I've been thinking about that, and recently I was driving down Highway 64. I'd visited family cemeteries in Fayette County, and I drove up through Highway 64 until it becomes Stage Road, up through Bartlett, past Old Raleigh. It made me think of the time when Raleigh was a town of itself. And I noticed the little historical marker, and someone did a lot of work to put those markers there. There's several good places where it says original route of the Trail of Tears, and that's important because most of us know about the Trail of Tears. We've heard about it. I even asked a cousin of mine who's in elementary school, did she know we were driving on that road? And she said, yeah, I know that. Her teacher had told her that, and bravo to the teacher who did. You know, I'm all about seeing history in the places where we find ourselves. And I just think of that. And it's in a time period when there was even a Supreme Court case that the Cherokee were able to win. And the president at the time, Andrew Jackson, just simply said, well, let them enforce it if they will. And that sounded familiar. It sounded very familiar. And it made me just think about the people at that time. And how in May of 1838, and this date, some of these dates I'm quoting are coming from the National Park website. You can Google what happened on the Trail of Tears and find it there. I wouldn't suggest using the AI sources because they seem to be pretty far off on the data points and calendar dates, but that might change. Who knows, the way the AI is. But it made me think about the people who once walked down the path that would become the road, that would become the highway, past Harrington Creek, past the library, past the bowling alley there in Bartlett, Tennessee. And this particular route, the Bell Route, was one of the largest groups. In fact, many of the people on the Bell Route had agreed to come. They were willing to go because there were many different opinions among the Cherokee and other nations of people that left. But the Cherokee are unique because they had a constitution, they had a law, and a lot of that was circumvented by the United States government. And you really should study that in times like these. But as I always have as a goal with my videos, if I can make somebody stop for a second and say, this happened here, then maybe I can encourage them to make good decisions in other more recent things. So next time that you're taking the highway route down Highway 64, that route that brought my family out of the cotton fields into Memphis, maybe you can stop for a second and look at the sign and think, they walked through here first. It happened here. It's just something to think about as we live in the times that we do. Take a look at nps.gov or Google what happened on the Trail of Tears. National Geographic also has a pretty easy to read site. You can learn a lot more about the Bell Route and think about history all around us. And I'll leave you with this. A quote from that time. This quote can be found at the time of this video recording on the National Park Service website. Long time we travel on way to the new land. People feel bad when they leave the old nation. Women cry and make sad wails. Children cry and many men cry. but they say nothing, and they just put heads down and keep on going towards the west. Many days pass, and people die very much. Another quote, one each day, then all are gone. I'll say that again. One each day, and then all are gone. Next time you are driving to get a cup of coffee, or to go bowling, or to see the Wolf Chase Mall, or to visit a family cemetery, or the historic cemetery there in Raleigh, or maybe you're going by the library there on Harrington Creek, or passing the railroad tracks, or going to the restaurant there, stop for a second and say, they went past here.